The long-simmering shadow war between Iran and Israel has now erupted into open, devastating conflict. What was once a covert struggle fought in the shadows has burst into the public eye, with Tel Aviv at the very center of this historic escalation. The world watches in shock as the fragile balance in the Middle East is shattered overnight. For the first time in its history, Tel Aviv has been struck by a barrage of Iranian missiles. The city's once unshakable sense of security has been violently disrupted, replaced by fear and uncertainty. The Iron Dome defense system lights up the night sky, intercepting some rockets, but many still find their mark, leaving devastation and chaos in their wake. The sound of explosions echoes through the city, a grim reminder that no place is truly safe. Emergency responders race through the streets, searching for survivors among the rubble. Buildings lie in ruins, debris scattered across once busy avenues. Civilians, stunned and terrified, wander through the aftermath, their lives forever changed in a matter of minutes. The attack has left hundreds dead or injured, and the psychological shock is as profound as the physical destruction. Families are separated, homes destroyed, and a city known for its vibrancy is now gripped by fear and uncertainty. Iran's direct strike on Tel Aviv marks a turning point in the region's history. For the first time, Tehran has openly declared that any attack on its soil will be met with force against Israel's heartland. Government officials on both sides issue grave warnings, and military parades display the weapons that now threaten millions. The world is left to wonder, how far will this conflict go, and who will pay the price? The Middle East has entered a dangerous and unpredictable new chapter. Tel Aviv, once a symbol of modernity and resilience, is now the epicenter of a conflict that threatens to spiral far beyond the region's borders. As anxious crowds gather to watch the news and soldiers patrol the streets, the world holds its breath, uncertain of what tomorrow will bring. The world is in crisis mode. In capitals across the globe, leaders are urgently convening, scrambling to assess the rapidly evolving situation. Newsrooms buzz with tension as updates pour in by the minute, and the sense of uncertainty is palpable. The crisis has shattered any illusion of distance. No nation feels immune from the shockwaves. On city streets and in crowded airports, people gather around screens, their faces etched with worry. Headlines scream of escalation, and the world holds its breath, bracing for what comes next. International newspapers deliver urgent updates, and the anxiety is contagious, spreading from one continent to another. Families huddle together at home, glued to their televisions, while commuters check their phones for breaking news. The uncertainty seeps into daily life, as people everywhere try to make sense of the chaos. Social media is flooded with speculation and fear, amplifying the sense of crisis. In Washington, the U.S. government scrambles to contain the fallout. Officials offer diplomatic and logistical support to Israel, but stop short of deploying troops, wary of being drawn into another protracted conflict in the Middle East. Behind closed doors, military advisors debate the risks, knowing that every decision could have far-reaching consequences. Meanwhile, oil prices skyrocket overnight. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway crucial for global energy supplies, is suddenly at risk. Tankers reroute, insurance rates soar, and energy markets reel from the uncertainty. The world's dependence on this vital corridor becomes painfully clear, and the threat of a global economic shock looms large. Stock markets tumble as investors react to the turmoil. Gas stations update their prices by the hour, and news anchors warn of rising inflation. For countries that rely heavily on imported fuel, the crisis is especially dire. Governments scramble to secure energy supplies and calm their anxious citizens. On the diplomatic front, China and Russia seize the moment to condemn Israel's actions, using the crisis to challenge U.S. influence and assert their own power. The world watches as alliances shift and old rivalries resurface, signaling a possible realignment of global power dynamics. The conflict has outgrown its regional roots. Now it threatens the very fabric of global stability, sending tremors through financial markets, diplomatic circles, and the lives of ordinary people everywhere. The world stands at a crossroads, uncertain of what the next day will bring. Prime Minister Netanyahu's preemptive strike on Iran was meant to cripple its nuclear program and boost his political standing. But Israel gravely underestimated Iran's resolve and readiness. Instead of collapsing, Iran executed a well-planned retaliation, revealing years of preparation and strategic patience. Netanyahu's gamble, driven by political desperation, has backfired, plunging the region into war and likely sealing his own political fate. The miscalculation has unleashed the very conflict Israel sought to prevent. Iran's response was decades in the making. Forced by sanctions to build its own arsenal, Iran developed advanced missiles and a doctrine of resilience. The strike on Tel Aviv was a calculated move, designed to shatter Israel's sense of invulnerability and demonstrate Iran's reach. Years of proxy wars and military innovation gave Iran the experience to respond swiftly and effectively. The message is clear. Iran can absorb a first strike and retaliate at the heart of its enemies. The era of distant, one-sided wars in the Middle East is over. The world stands on a knife's edge, teetering between hope and disaster. Every decision made in the coming days will shape not just the fate of nations, but the lives of millions of ordinary people. The uncertainty is palpable, and the stakes have never been higher. Old rules are gone, swept away by a tide of escalating tensions and shifting alliances. The risk of a wider war grows with each passing hour as global powers take sides and draw new lines in the sand. The fragile balance that once kept conflict at bay is now under threat, and the world watches anxiously as leaders weigh their next moves. Netanyahu's gamble has triggered a relentless cycle of retaliation, plunging Israel and its neighbors into a state of heightened alert. Instead of bringing security, these actions have made Israel less safe and the entire region more volatile. The sense of unease grows as each new strike invites a response, fueling a dangerous spiral that threatens to spin out of control. In the midst of chaos, diplomatic efforts race against time. Behind closed doors, negotiators and diplomats work tirelessly, hoping to prevent a full-scale catastrophe. The world's eyes are on these urgent talks, as the possibility of peace hangs by a thread. Every handshake, every word exchanged, could mean the difference between escalation and resolution. The outcome remains uncertain, shrouded in the fog of war and the unpredictability of human ambition. But one thing is clear. Pursuing security through force has unleashed chaos, scattering families, destroying homes, and leaving scars that will last for generations. The consequences of these choices will echo for decades, shaping the future in ways we can barely imagine. As missiles fall and the world holds its breath, we are reminded that the true cost of war is always measured in human lives. The fear etched on faces in bomb shelters, the heartbreak of families torn apart, these are the real consequences. In the end, the human cost of war is always immeasurable, and its impact will be felt long after the last shot is fired.